Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome to a brand new Let's Play series on the channel. We'll be starting our very first Total War Troy Let's Play. And from our votes, Achilles, the warlord of the Myrmidons, have won. So we'll be having our first campaign with Achilles here. And in this campaign, we'll be taking things a little slower because this is our first campaign on the game. Brand new game, a lot of mechanics to learn. And the first thing we'll look at is our separate victory conditions. So there are two current victory conditions. You can go for the Homeric victory and then you can complete the Total War victory. The Homeric victory has 12 epic missions, which is related to your character's role during the entire historical version of the Trojan War, or historical or mythical. It's not really pure history, it's very heavily laden with myth, but regardless, we have 12 missions that we have to satisfy. And then we also have to make sure these following factions are destroyed or confederated. And they are Hector of Troy, Troy itself, and Paris of Troy. So basically we have to destroy the city of Troy and its 3 associated factions. And lastly, we have to reach rank 27 with the following character, Achilles himself. I believe 27 is the max rank, given that you have 14 tiers of skills. Each one can be doubled up except for the first one, which you start out with. So technically you will level up 26 times, covering the 13 skills. Each skill tree you can pick 2 from. So 27 should be max rank. So basically Achilles himself has to reach max rank. And for our Total War victory, we have to destroy whoever becomes our first antagonistic faction. And we also have to control the 3 following settlements, whether through direct ownership or vassal or military allies. And they are Troy, Mycenae, and Knossos. And we also have to occupy, raise, or sack 100 different settlements. So pretty straightforward here. A lot of settlements on the map and a lot for us to take. Occupy, raise, or sack, and we'll definitely be keeping this in mind. I think we'll first definitely go for this victory condition here and then move on to this if the late game of painting the map is not too boring, or else we might just end it after this and start a new one. So with that said, I'll be playing this on legendary difficulty. Automatically defaults to veteran difficulty, which is the highest available for battle difficulties. Main difference is the AI will enjoy quite a bit of upkeep cost discount, as well as have the ability to field more armies and be faster on the campaign progress. Basically the AI will have a ton of discounts and they'll try to match up with you in sheer numbers because it's very hard to control the intelligence of said AI. But for battles, what happens is the AI will also receive some hidden stat boost to morale and damage, and even the lowest enemy soldiers will become formidable. Basically makes us have to fight smarter because our units one-on-one will be penalized against the enemy just because they will get hidden buffs. And aside from that, we will have no manual saves because of legendary difficulty on campaign, and then orders can also not be given while the battle is paused. Aside from that, we are also going to use minimum advisor help, normal cycles for day and night. I'm not going to increment the auto saves. We'll go with 40-minute battle timers, battle realism. 40 minutes kind of the default that I'm used to for 3 Kingdoms, so I'm going to just bring that over here. Battle realism limits how far your camera can zoom on troops, and also makes the enemy invisible when they're far away from you. Just a little bit of extra difficulty added here. And as for our faction, even though we have previewed this faction recently, it's fair to start a whole Let's Play with a proper introduction. So we have 2 faction unique mechanic, Living Legend, which is our desire to become the greatest warrior ever known. So there will be a list of challengers that will occur from time to time, and we'll have to bring them down. We offer them a duel. If they accept, we basically are teleported to a duel, and it'll take us about 2 turns to come back. If they see us and are afraid and willing to acknowledge our greatness, then immediately we'll be rewarded with a win over that person. And lastly, they can refuse our one-on-one challenge, and thus we have to locate them on the actual campaign map and destroy them on the campaign map through battle. So those are the 3 separate ways we can take care of challengers, and once we clean the slate of challengers, we are comfortable with our status as living legends until new challengers arise. And while we are a living legend, we get 3 bonuses, which we'll look at in the game. Basically, you get very nice faction-wide boosts for you to spend your time hunting down these challengers and also to send your greatest hero away for 2 turns. Aside from that, Hot-Blooded Achilles also has emotions. He is very moody as a young man, and his emotions controls us as well as our bonuses to the entire faction. He has 3 different states, or actually 4. So there's a very neutral state, happy state, where things are all good, but then there's 3 different moods you can change into. And these moods are outraged. During outrage, you will have stronger armies, as in you'll have buffs to your army, but you will lose economic efficiency. You can also be grieving. It increases divine favor gained and experience gained for units, but reduces faction-wide happiness. And you can also be indignant. Increase economic efficiency and happiness, but reduce the likelihood of diplomatic deals and influence. So there is a pro and con to each of these, and you kind of have to balance things out to see what you're going for in your current state in the campaign. It's sometimes very hard to manage because the conditions for these sometimes goes beyond the scope of what you can really control. Like sometimes it asks you not to encamp because Achilles doesn't like to stay garrisoned in a town, and you're likely to gain certain traits. Sometimes you have to go take care of a situation with Living Legend, and the outcome of Living Legend always result in the increase of one of these moods depending on how the duel was resolved. So sometimes it's beyond our control, but we'll try our best to deal with our moody faction leader here. In terms of army playstyle, our roster is focused on great speed because we're nicknamed the swift-footed Achilles, and maneuverability, which is nice because in this infantry-heavy world, being able to maneuver well and flank well is very key to winning battle, especially on harder difficulties. And we have the largest number of unique faction units, and we can see them down here. We'll take a look at them real quick. And for the hero classes that we can recruit everyone except for warlords. We have what's available to us is fighters, fighter champion, ravager, and vanquisher. We also have defenders, protectors, companions, and veterans. These are subclasses. And finally, we can also recruit archers, skirmisher, and tricksters. And basically how the game works is each hero will lead one army. So every time you want an army, you have to recruit a hero. Every time we send Achilles away to fight one of his duels for Living Legends, we have to have someone sub in to babysit his army. So we're going to need a hero quite early on in our campaign. Now, as for faction unique units, we have Ththalian Marines. Ththalian is the area of land we are in, and it's an ancient empire of the Greeks, and we are not Ththalian ourselves, but because we are in that territory, we have Ththalian Marines that we can recruit. These are light units who are good at flanking, good at charging, high speed, so swift-footed, and they come with flanking attack improved, means they get extra bonus damage when they are flanking another unit. They have stock, which means they can stay hidden while moving on the map in any terrain, quite useful. And you can see a pretty good charge bonus, very decent speed. Usual speed is around 40 to 46-ish, let's say. Most range units are about 46, so if you're over that, you can chase them down. If you're under that, you can't really stop range units. You can only force them to retreat a little on skirmish mode, but you can't actually kill them. And aside from them, we have Aegean Runners. So Aegean is actually where Achilles' family is from. It's a small island south of Athens, down here. It's kind of blocked by Agamemnon's symbol. We'll take a look at it in the game. And his family was kind of ousted, and his father escaped to this region here with the Myrmidons. And Myrmidons are from the Aegeans, and we'll talk about all this when we're getting into the game. And this is another light infantry, sword and shield, good at flanking again, swift-footed, and they carry a special missile weapon, which is basically a javelin on their back that they will throw away before they engage in melee. They have the ability to shoot while firing, so they will dump all their javelins before they charge into a group, and they will be able to use up their ammo and also engage in melee. They have decent charge, not too high, but 55 speed once again, a decent range on those javelins actually, and so missile damage. It is armor piercing because it is a javelin, but it's not that high. And you can also see flanking attack improved, and this symbol is for shooting while moving. And then we move on to the Pelagic Ththalians. So these are medium tier two-handed spear units. So obviously two-handed spears means no shield, but also means better charge and probably better attack. And these guys, once again, is an excellent charging unit that has stock. Very similar to these guys. I'm thinking the difference here is mainly extra stats in terms of extra armor and such. So basically upgraded medium class version of these light class two-handed spears. Then we move on to the Myrmidon Swordsman. The Myrmidon is why our emblem here is an ant. Myrmidons are this class of warriors that's said to be created by Zeus to repopulate the island of Aegean, who's down here. Once they suffered a tragedy in the past, basically all the ants on the island became these warriors. And these warriors are, like ants, very strong, very good at organization, very disciplined troops. And when Achilles' parents or father escaped to this region, he brought the Myrmidons with him. And that's why Achilles, now that the father's dead, is the leader or warlord of the Myrmidons. And these guys are unbreakable, shielded, immune to flanking medium infantry with sword and shield. And you can see that, they also have flanking attack improve. Aside from the fact that they themselves are immune to flanking, they're also unbreakable, immune to fear and terror, which is kind of duplicate, because if you're unbreakable, you're not really worried about fear and terror. They can also shoot while moving because they carry some javelin. They have much better javelin damage, but shorter range, much slower, 42 speed, right, compared to the other units we've been looking at. So they are better served probably as your frontline troop, or throw in there from a frontal charge, because you're immune to flanking. You're not worried about exposing your flank as much to enemy infantry outmaneuvering you. And you can also use these to flank, even though they're slightly slower speed, they still have decent charge. The speed is probably just slowed mainly from the armor and the shield. Next up, we have the spear fighting Myrmidon. So once again, we're switching weapon types, going to a spear and shield that can switch to a two-handed spear, means they can put the shield on their back. You will lose your range block chance, but you will gain better offensive capabilities. Once again, you are unbreakable. You have flanking defense improved, so this is purely a defensive unit. They're only resistant to flanking, so they're not really unflankable like these guys, immune to flanking. So they're probably going to serve a little different purpose. You can have them in the shield mode and just defend your front line, or have them in two-handed spear to charge. Once again, a bit slow, but they also have javelins. Very similar unit to the sword, depends on what weapon type. Spears are very good in the game. They have bonuses to sword, they have bonuses to axe, and bonuses to large, which are cavalries, chariots, giants, minotaurs, and cyclops, and such. So very useful to have a spear wielding unit. And lastly, we have the Aegeans Javelin Men. These are your typical range units. They have not that much ammo and not that much range. They're basically fast, mobile, light unit that can flank and shoot off their javelin from behind units. Because even if you're immune to flanking, you're not immune to missile flanking. So we're not going to read all this. If you're interested in the story, we'll share it as we play the campaign. And we'll also have read the whole thing during the preview anyway. And for our background bonus, we're the son of Peleus and Thetis. Thetis is a sea nymph, so she is kind of a goddess. And your father is now dead, and your mother is alive. She's a sea goddess. She's not going to die. And that's why you have a lot of myth surrounding you, because you are kind of a demigod in a way. You have +4 to melee attack for all units when attacking, means your army is the attacking army. All your units will get melee attack bonus, and you get -5% morale for all enemy units. You strike fear in the enemy. So let's get this campaign started and become a legend ourselves.
Are we mere playthings of the gods? Or do we plead divine influence to justify our foolish choices?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife! You've risked the safety of Troy.
Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you. Brother, I can fight! Go, seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
Helen's flight was a grave wound to Achaean pride. King Menelaus will have his revenge. and his brother will have his war with Troy, just as the gods intended. Oh, swift-footed Achilles, there is only one response to Queen Helen's abduction, and that is war.
Brother, your foolish passion has doomed us.
King Agamemnon of high-walled Mycenae must avenge this insult to his brother. You are the ultimate warrior, king of Phthia, and commander of the Myrmidons.
Glory in battle is my God-given fate.
Your ally, King Lycomedes, rules the Isle of Skyros. As a boy, you were sheltered in Lycomedes' court on your father's command. Now you must protect the old king in turn. Heed both threats from enemies like the Ellopians and opportunities that come your way through friends such as prosperous King Eumelos and his son Ajax the Lesser. The independent Thessalians could be a bulwark for your western flank. Keep your courage, lion-hearted Achilles, for you know well that fortune favors the bold.
Alrighty, so we're loaded up into the game. We're the Phthia, hot-blooded Achilles, and living legend. We kind of explained these already. And our first mission is to fight the Ellopians, which are to our south, and we get a reward of food and bronze should we defeat an army that belongs to them. So, let's take stock of where we are. So here we have our nice province of Phthia. We have the major settlement and one minor settlement, Aelos. It's a wood-producing settlement, and we can see that we're missing a piece, right? We're missing the piece in Phthia, which is a grain-producing settlement here. In the game, you really want to collect the entire province because by controlling the whole province, you can issue commandments, which is additional boost to the whole province. And so that means we're probably going to have to go to war with a faction here in the north. And this faction here, we can take a look at them.
Let's hear it then.
Is the Eumelos. Eumelos is another suitor of Helen way back. So technically, in the Trojan War, he will be on our side because he has to obey the oath that was sworn when Helen picked Menelaus as her husband. So basically, Helen, being the most beautiful woman in the world, had a bunch of suitors from the Greek world. And when the father of Helen, the king of Sparta, was kind of having a headache of which son-in-law to pick, he asked Odysseus to help him decide on what's the best method in picking the son-in-law without making all the other suitors mad at you. Because obviously, you pick one, every other warlord or king of Greece is going to hate you. So Odysseus, who is from Catalonia, and the wise men, or maybe even the wisest men of the Greeks, helped the Spartan king come up with a plan and said that he would tell him if he can get him a hand in marriage with Penelope, who I believe is Helen's cousin. So I think it's a relative of the king as well, his niece, who is also very beautiful. And he obliged, and Odysseus got his wife and then told the king that the best way to do so is to ask all the suitors to take an oath that whoever Helen picks every suitor will respect the marriage and be sworn to protect it. So that's why we have this oath of Tiradius. I think that's the king's name. I don't recall the exact name. But because we have such an oath, when Helen is eloped or kidnapped by Paris, depending on which version of the story we're telling here, the oath is called by Menelaus, and all these suitors have to go respond by declaring war together on Troy. So that's where we are. Now, the thing about the game is there's no such nice alliance at the beginning. Sure, the Greek factions are friendly to each other, but there are tribes of different Greek. You know, Greece is a big area. The people down here are not going to be the same culturally as people up here during this much more fractured time period. So we have the Phthalian mainly group over here. And this man here, Eumelos, is also used to be a suitor of Helen. When that didn't work out, he ended up coming back to his land. I think he wasn't from here. He's from Phthia, but I think he married the daughter of the king of Igeans, or Igeans. I think it's Igeans. And now he has control of both. He eventually joins, the Alliance fleet to go to Troy, but in our case we're probably going to have to kill him before he does so that we can take back our full control of the province. He's not known to be like a great warrior or not. I think they had like a chariot race of many of the suitors, and he came in last or something like that. Not going to worry about killing him. Down to our south, even though it looks like it's kind of connected by this small piece of crossing, we're actually looking at the island of E01, which crosses all the way to the north of, this would be Athens. And later on in history, it's quite important. Right now, the northern part of this island, the Ellopians are residing in, and it's led by Ellops himself. You can see where the name comes from. This is a city, I believe, that he was tasked to build by another faction over here that defeated them and forced them into this corner, basically. Also not bad guys, you know. Everyone here, technically the Greek stands together, but in our case in the game, we're not going to allow that to happen.
I cannot do that.
To our west, we already mentioned the Thalians. These guys kind of control this whole area, or they're the dominant culture of the area. And if we look at the influences, you can kind of see, sometimes you can see, I don't know if the Thalian influence is actually one of them, but Aeolians probably would actually be the one. Aeolians would be this region in Greece, and Achaeans would be another Greek group. And we are probably Achaeans, because we are from this island right here. I guess this would be Salamis. They made it really small. This would be Aegean. Yes, this is where we're from. This is homeland of the Myrmidons, and our father was ousted because his father got killed, and he and his brother ran off to Corinth, I believe. And then they settled and eventually ended up over here in Phthia. Long story short, father's dead. Father won the hand of the sea nymph, so there goes our demigod status. And something about this sea nymph. So our mother, Thetis, was very beautiful sea nymph. All the gods wanted her. By all the god, I mean Zeus and Poseidon. Zeus just wants everyone, and Poseidon, being the god of the sea, wants a sea nymph. Very natural thing. Sea nymph, after all, like help him carry his trident, is part of his group. But there is this prophecy. The prophecy says that Thetis' son will surpass his father. So after hearing this, Zeus and Poseidon backed out and be like, nope, not marrying her. So she was eventually married to a mortal, our father, Peleus. And during that wedding, all the gods, being that they were suitors with the mother, decided to throw a banquet for this wedding. So Zeus kind of officiated the wedding of the girl he was pursuing. And since she is a sea nymph, so it kind of makes sense. She has the goddess status. And during this wedding is when we had this whole event of the judgment, right? The judgment of which goddess is the fairest of them all, because the one god or goddess they didn't invite is the god of discord. And because of that, they gifted a apple of discord to the wedding. So they didn't come because they weren't invited, but they threw this golden apple out there and says it should belong to the fairest. and presented this headache to Zeus, because Zeus is presented with this gift to give to the fairest goddess. You have Athena, you have Hera, and you have Aphrodite, so you have his wife and 2 daughters. And he doesn't want to make 2 of them unhappy by gifting it to 1, so he backed out by saying that we should let fair Paris judge this. And at the time, Paris being a prince of Troy, but you have to realize Paris was an exiled prince of Troy. There's a prophecy when he was born too, that he will bring ruin to Troy. So there was this whole situation where Priam and the Queen Hecuba tried to kill the son, or they didn't try to kill the son, they didn't have the heart to do it themselves. They gifted to like a shepherd to do it, and the shepherd didn't do it, or actually he tried to do it, but Paris didn't die, and then he brought the son back to the king, and they decided that they should spare him but exile him and have him live with the shepherd out in the mountains east of Troy. But Paris grew up a very handsome and beautiful young man, a very fair, justice fair, not skin fair, and because of that, as an exiled prince, he was asked, due to his fairness, to judge which of the 3 goddesses deserved this apple of discord. And in the end, after the goddess stripped down for him to let him see how beautiful they are and to bribe him with different things, king of Asia and Europe, wisdom, and the most beautiful woman in the world, he ended up picking the most beautiful woman in the world, even though he was dating at the time. I think maybe even married to a girl, to another goddess creature in the mountains where he was a shepherd of, but then he abandoned her immediately and went for Helen. But then he didn't know that Helen was already married, but he went for her anyways, and Aphrodite made sure that Helen would fall in love with him, and off he goes to Sparta, steals Menelaus' wife, and we're here. So that was the quick version of the story. Now, because our mother is a goddess, back to the key point, we have many cool things surrounding our life. So there was a seer who told our mother that there was 2 options for Achilles' life. He can either gain glory beyond imaginable, but die young, or live an eventless life. And Achilles picked the former. He wants to be glorious. But the mom, being kind of motherly love, wanted his son to live. So when he was young, the mother threw the son to Skyros, where King Lycomedes, which we were introduced, presides over. And mom had us dressed as a girl because Lycomedes had 7 daughters, so that we can live with the 7 daughters as though we were one of Lycomedes' daughters. No one keeps count once you go above 7. And we were living there for a few years from when we were 8 or 9. Until eventually Odysseus came over there and fetched us out of there, because Odysseus was dragged into this war since he set up this oath in the first place, and he also saw a prophecy that if Achilles does not join the Greek side in this world, the Greek will not win. And since Odysseus, who doesn't want to go to war in the first place, wants to come home alive, is trying very hard to get Achilles to join the war effort. But while we are dressing up as a girl in the court of Skyros, we actually got one of the daughter pregnant, and we married her, and she actually gave us a son. Even though, if we go by the text of the age, we were barely teenagers at the time. But, maybe demigod status, she's pregnant, and we have a son. But that's why we are allies with Skyros. Our wife is there. Think of it that way. Let's see, what else are we missing? I mean, then we have stories of other Greek lord, to our west here we have Ajax the Lesser and his father Oileus, which I think rules this area. Locris, I think that's the area that he rules over. They're friends. I mean, technically everyone should be friends. They start out a war with us, fine, we'll go beat them up. But that is currently the status of the story. Alrighty, let's take a look at our army. We actually start the game with a heavy unit, Champion of Phthia. These guys are strong. So we're going to utilize these guys well in our fights, try to use these to hold the front line. And you can see that they have shields that block 60% of missile fire. Hopefully we won't let them absorb too much, but they have heavy armor. So with this combination, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much immune to slingers. Slingers have low damage, no armor piercing, and then we get 60% block chance on top of that. We also have insanely high morale. The little bit of green boost is probably from our background bonus. They're slow, so use them defensively in my opinion. They're also unbreakable, good at frontlining, resistant to flanking, decent attack. The attack is actually quite low. Melee attack are your attack hit chance, melee defense are your evasion chance, and speed is slow. Damage is actually how much you deal over 10 seconds. So it's kind of combining all the stats together and giving you kind of value per 10-second kind of damage output. And we have a charge bonus. And since we're using these mainly as defensive unit, those stats really not going to matter too much. So that's our unit there. That's our best unit. Then we have some Aegean Runners, light units, experts of flanking, swift-footed, special missile weapon. Kind of cover this. This is one of our faction unique unit. I think we're going to definitely use these guys to flank. That's kind of their main purpose. Same as light swordsman. You see basically this symbol is flanking attack improved. This guy's not as good because he only has 8 charge bonus versus the 15 here. It's a cheaper unit, early game unit. If we really want a charge unit, Young Spear is the way to go, but these guys have no shield, very vulnerable to missile damage, and also no armor. They're basically half naked, but they do have a very nice long two-handed spear that will hurt a lot on various units because we have bonuses to a variety of units by being a two-handed spear. Lastly, we have another faction unique unit that's given to us from the start of the game. We have Aegeans Javelin Men. Shorter range, not such high ammo, decent missile damage. You really want these guys to be flanking. That's kind of the goal here. And before we get things started with fighting, we're going to fight this army right away. They have 9 units, a bit more than ours, but I think we can handle them. We're going to start out with diplomacy, because that was the one mistake I made during my preview sessions with Achilles, where I just skipped over this part, and by turn 5 we were at war with everyone. And we want some non-aggression packs off the bat. We'll start out with, let's see, this is Ithaca over here. We're talking to Odysseus here.
Just honest words.
And if you don't know where factions are, quite normal. I have no idea where most of the factions are. Odysseus I know because I previewed him, but you can just click on their symbol, and if you have seen them on the map, or even if you don't, it will zoom you to that area. At least you have a general idea of where they're from. We can get a pack with him, and what you want to do is look at what resources he has. That's his current level, and the color represent his interest in acquiring more of them. So green means he wants more stone, red means he doesn't care much for wood. This is really a reflection of what you can give him in terms of, if you're giving him resources, how much he will value it. But if you're asking for resources, in our case, which is what we're doing, more or less we want to just try things out. I typically, after playing the game for a couple hours, want to start out with gold, because typically these are the values. Like gold is most valuable to AI, or maybe even to player. It's the only resource that's finite in the game, because if you have a resource producing minor settlement, the gold ones can actually deplete over time. So you can kind of check out how much of the diplomatic evaluation change with each click of each one to kind of see where you want to go, starting with the most expensive one, obviously. That way you kind of work your way down. It's when you're like, filling a bucket with like big stones and sands, you want to fill the big stones first and then dump the sand in last, so you can carry the most in your bucket. That's the best analogy I can give you. So you see how the second click went up by 0.2, where the first one went up by 0.1. So you're just trying to get a feel for when you get a huge jump, like there. So basically at 5, he's going to charge you a lot more for that last unit, right? The marginal increase is much higher. So that's when we stop, and then we move on to the next resource and so forth until we, get a good deal. Now, obviously the point here is to maximize value of your trade deals, of your diplomatic points. But if what you're trying to do is not to maximize the value, but if you just say, I want a lot of wood, it doesn't matter what. So there we go, we saw a jump there. Oh, actually that jump is because we jumped 5 here. So after 20, each click goes up by much higher increments. So you have to adjust your valuation accordingly. Yeah, this is still going up by about 0.1-ish per unit. But we could technically do this and then end with some of this. So this is kind of like pouring the sand into the bucket to make sure we maximize our value. So that's kind of the offer we can work with. Now, this maximizes our 6.1, in my opinion. But sometimes you don't want to maximize value. Sometimes all you want to do is get one resource that you really need right away. In that case, then throw all this method out of the window and just go for that one resource. Here, I don't think I need a particular resource right away. I'm just trying to get the best deal I can from Odysseus here.
We accept.
And I also really want a non-aggression pact with these guys. Moving on, Sparta, Menelaus.
What can I do for Achilles?
Now we can
First
buff
among the companions of Ares.
We can buff this to even military access just to get us a little bit more points. That way we can get more stuff from him. And same idea. And now that you guys understand what we're trying to do, I'm gonna cut out all of this dealing. So see you guys after we finish our deal. Alrighty, so after a round of wheeling and dealing, we can take a look at our treasury. This is a very useful trade report. We basically traded with all the major factions, and I actually got non-aggression pact with everyone surrounding us, except for that's willing. And we didn't get too much. You can see the summary of our trade up here. We're getting 28 food per turn, 16 wood, 3 stone, 124 bronze, and 12 gold. A lot of bronze. Basically resources we might not need now, but it's nice to have. In my opinion, if I don't need anything right away, I might as well get the higher value item in case I need to trade for these. I can always offer these up to trade for these when I need them. And these will last us 5 turns with the following factions. And everyone basically has a non-aggression pact with us. And I think we have military access only with Sparta. And if you want to ever check your kind of diplomatic status with different factions, just known factions is kind of, well, actually this only shows you what factions you know, and you can see what the divide is, right? What type of factions are which in terms of culture. And everyone around ours are the Eolians, which is the region we're in. And then to the slightly south of us, the Ionians, which is where they belong to, and this is the Trojan people, and the Greek down here is Achaeans, which is what we are, I believe. Diplomatic check is over here. This is probably the best place to see. A bunch of non-aggression pact, a bunch of trade bartering deals, 1 war, and a few military access. Some of this is already available, like these 2 already had. It's nothing new, so I didn't actually sell our soul for that. Alright, so now on to warfare. So now we can attack. And I guess before we do, let's take a look at our hero. Alright, all this thing before we fight. This is our stats. That's not what's interesting here. We have an armor-piercing weapon. Great. Items is what's interesting. So we have our father's spear. Right, this is our Peleus' spear. This is the strongest black ash forged by the centaur Chiron. So our father, since he's married to a sea nymph, got to meet a lot of nice mythical creatures as well. And most of the centaur are described as wild and animal-like. But Chiron here is a very intelligent and human-acting centaur and very wise. And he gifted our father a spear and rescued him from a situation when he didn't have a weapon. But at that time, basically, Chiron fetched his sword back for him to help him out. Later on, the spear was given to our father, and now it's ours. And it gives us 7% extra armor piercing damage, and also gives our troops plus 8% morale. So very nice. And we have a ceremonial cup from our mother, the sea nymph. And this gives the province or region we're in 10% food per turn, very powerful. And we get 30 points to the growth in the local province. So that's very also helpful for growing our faction in terms of building our buildings taller. We need extra population to upgrade our settlements. Skill wise, we have Vanquish in the beginning. This basically increases our charge bonus and speed for us and allies in range. Mainly us, that's probably who we're going to use this on. There's going to be a bunch of skills to pick up. Like I said earlier, there's 14 levels, so basically 13 more tiers, and each tier has 2 different options you can pursue, left and right, and then there's additional skill point that you can do that branches from the main one, so that you pick one from the 2 and then you can upgrade the one you picked one more time. So technically each level will use 2 skill points, and there's 13 of them, so 26 more levels. We're level 1 right now, so max level should be 27. That means you can eventually get a skill in every single tier. You can't get 2 in a tier, so basically eventually you have to pick and choose 1 in every level, and then for the one you pick, you can also upgrade it 1 time. So there is no skill that you have to give up. I mean, you do have to give up 1 when you pick between the 2, but that's about it. And there's ones like this which will give us a mount, a chariot mount. That way we don't have to be running on foot, but that's much farther down the line. Now you could save experience points. Let's say I want this before I want that, and then maybe I want this before I want that. So instead of leveling up once, spending on this, and leveling up again, spending on this, and not being able to pick up this, we can keep the 2 points until we're level 3 and then pop both of them on the one we want. Early on, the only one I noticed that I really want is this one down here at level 5. Basically, we can get 7% replenishment when raiding. So that feels really strong because we can be in enemy territory and raid and also pick up 7% replenishment. So get money, resources, and recovery at the same time. So I kind of want to save up for that down the line, but that's too far ahead. We need to be at least level 6 to pick that one up. So with that said, we can actually fight now.
Show no mercy.
Alrighty, so we're fighting this. As you can see from the balance of power, we're favored, mainly because we have good units and good generals. The general they're fielding is a defender class companion. Okay, so that's a subclass. Defenders are really good at defending in a sense. We're going to try to duel him and kill him. We're going to try to utilize Achilles as much as possible because after all, we are playing as Achilles, the greatest warrior alive during this time period. And you can always check the map you'll be fighting on beforehand. These are ridges, so there's some nice choke points we can maybe use. And let's just jump into the fight here. Alrighty, so every time as the attacker you can pick the weather conditions. You will get one that is the current condition, and you can choose to wait 3 times, gambling it 3 times to get the different weather. I'm happy with dry. There's basically no effect. And this is our army, this is their army. They're on this hill, which I don't like. I do like this narrow choke. Maybe we can have our best unit just hold that for us while we flank around. That might be the best tactic here. Alright, we're gonna send them over. Actually, they can start on the forest, that way they can stay hidden. They will be our left flank. And I guess these will be our right flank. And you can swap the order of things if you want to organize them that way. Like these two are range, maybe. It's up to you. Or you can group them. Control whatever number you want. I think we'll hide these in the forest. Maybe. I don't think the enemy will be coming for us because technically they're defending. I want to hold this choke as quick. Oh, they're backing off. Okay, that's great. And it's nice that they're close to the edge of the map because that way if you rout and we chase them off the map, they're gone. Because getting them to rout completely is actually quite hard in this game because no one has cavalry at this point. Eventually you will get some cavalry, but because no one has them right now, infantry chasing routing infantry is just not a pretty sight. You're going to be like all the way on the other side of the map before you catch them. Or sometimes you don't even catch them, you just chase them off the map. Alright, we're going to try to hide here while they take that side. Let's see. They have 1 range unit, right? Yeah. Even though our heavy unit guy is not scared of that range units, I don't really want our guy to take range damage, right? Like if we can afford not to take range damage, it'd be better if we don't. I'm gonna have that group hide. This guy's slow, right? So we can't kite. It's basically hold. Ooh, they're shifting. Oh, they don't see that group at all. That's right. They're shifting towards us. That's totally fine. We also have to kind of play around with AI behavior here. You know, we're so used to 3 Kingdoms. Gotta see how the AI react to some things we do here. I'll try to hold that choke. Now we're resistant to flanking. It's not like we can't get flanked. But maybe if we... There's no way we can kind of like use this ledge to make sure we don't get flanked. I guess this is the best way, right? Go as wide as possible. And although I want to duel him, I want to take care of this unit first. I want to shepherd them towards our trap over there. Ooh, they're charging us? No, they're not. Okay. We're charging them. So all range units are on skirmish mode. It's okay. They can shoot. Oh, they're shooting these. We're going to hold. Run. Alright. I don't think we'll lose a unit. Hopefully not. We have 60% range block chance and high armor against rocks. I mean, Slinger's hurt.
I hear you.
Alright, gonna herd them over there. No one bothers us. Good. Alright, we're not gonna run these out until they're close. You see what I mean? Infantry chasing infantry, it's just nuts. They have 48 speed, we have 45. We're not gonna catch them, but we're gonna herd them to our trap. I'm wondering if they'll charge me while I'm gone. Nope, they're not. Good. Keep running. Oh, they see us or something? Why do they stop running that way? Hurt them. No, you guys keep your precious ammo. Keep your precious ammo.
Show me blood.
Are they gonna react to this? No, they're charging them. Or are they? Alright, Young Spear has 48 speed. They match, or they all have 48 speed. Go hide. I want to go back and help. I want to duel the general. Alright, I'm just going to send him to make sure that guy never see the daylight again. I'm going to pull these guys back a little. I don't think they'll chase us, but I'm not sure. Achilles, run. Chase. So how dueling work is if you just have your general fight the other general, all the units would clear a little circle and let you guys fight. Oh, we're losing health. Our dear leader. Oh, we want this guy to flank. Too late for them. Maneuvering is quite important in the game. So if we just get them to flank, the morale is the white bar, the top bar is health, and fatigue is the blue bar. Our elite unit lost about a third of their unit. They start out with 60. Against the enemy general, they're doing pretty good. Now we solo the general, we'll be okay. Alright, see that's routing, that's not complete route. But we kill that one. Still chasing that. We're buying time with this group. I think we just back off a little. Light swordsman incoming. Yeah, just shoot them a couple of times. We're in the duel. Oh, might as well use our ability. Right. We didn't boost them. We didn't get the duel started. Wasting too many men on the general. Just back off. Let Achilles do it. He's the greatest warrior for a reason. Alright, they're coming. Now we don't have many men left, but we're gonna try to hold here.
Your hero is under attack.
No, their hero is under attack. We're gonna hold. You see how their health is getting chunked? Ooh, nice stab in the back. I should try to manage the other troops right now, but I guess he'll live a little longer. I wonder if it's an execution move, basically. See, infantry chasing infantry at the same speed. So much about our maneuvering tactic. Another ability usage.
No one's going to miss you.
There we go. Hey, just in time.
Hades has claimed the enemy hero.
Sweet victory.
That should drop their morale, right? Your boss is dead. Alright, they routed for good. The skull symbol means they're gone.
Slay them.
Yeah, there we go. There goes their morale. The general's death. Fight this one. Alright, they got them. Just the Achilles show.
guts.
Well, but you can see, generals don't kill masses like in the Three Kingdoms, and there's no ability to just slam the ground and kill everyone around you. They're just stronger, singular units. They do have a lot of health and such, and they will boost other units around them. This is taking a little longer than I want, and that guy is not going to come back in time. Alright, stop running away. No one's charging you. You got infantry guarding in the front.
Your warriors are losing heart.
Destroy them.
This is their medium infantry. This is their strong one. Oh, they're charging us. Alright, finally got that one gone.
Wipe them out.
Charge.
Your warriors have been routed.
Yeah, that side, the swordmen in that forest, not the greatest position. We should run. Meet up. Alright, let the boss get here. He will probably rally back.
By Ares, your
Yep.
warriors are rallying.
Let's group together first. You serious? Let's see if we can go that way. Run! Run! Using abilities often costs rage, but in our case it doesn't. It's just a cooldown, so we can just use it whenever we want. You gain rage by fighting. You can see our rage bar on the top. There's going to be abilities where we need rage. Achilles having trouble with 2 units here, guys. They also rallied back. Alright. They just have to take care of it themselves. Keep running! Run, run, run! Alright, go try to go small. Alright, Achilles won. Yeah, why are we worrying about the boss? The boss got this. Okay, pull back a little bit more. We want to shoot these guys. No, 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 what are they doing? Turn around. I need to charge the sword. And shoot at the spear. There we go. Keep shooting until they completely routed.
Your warriors are rallying.
Hey, after getting chased around so much, they're finally back. Yeah, you can see how cavalry is going to completely transform like the battlefield because you just have units. Well, why are we meleeing?
Victory.
Okay, we won. We'll take that. Alright. So we did win. It's just not a pretty fight. We were outnumbered to the start, and we came out alright. Casualty ratio, not too bad, and we can probably use replenishment here. 9%. We captured 70 enemies.
I am unstoppable.
We beat them, picked up some food and bronze, and they want us to recruit a total of 12 units, which we will do. We have killed the general. Now, we haven't really looked at our, 2 faction unique panels yet. So if we see here, Living Legends, there's 3 current challengers. One is Ellopian, he's right next to us. We can confront him. He refuses, and refusal. Basically, we have to kill him on the battlefield. The situation here is, even though he only has 3 units, he has a garrison right behind, which is additional 8 units with a general, so, or 7 units and a general. Just difficult for our army who is wounded to take. We're going to have to pull back to the city. But before we, right click, go back to the city, we have to take a look at our moods. Right now we're just proud Achilles, so this one has no effects. This is the neutral stance. And you can see that we gain 10% outrage. And the 10% outrage we have gained is from, you can see the stat breakdown. A great warrior has refused our duel, right? Living legend, we tried that, it refused, 10% increase. And if we are going towards grieving, there's a conditions for what makes us grieve. If we raise settlements, if we kill captives, if we go for indignant, it's losing auxiliary, low motivation of our other heroes, and we have spent time encamped or garrison. So we don't want to be encamped or garrison. Don't end your turn in a city unless you want indignant. Then do that. Don't break diplomatic treaties. Win duels over great wars. That's another different type of outcome, is winning the duels. And if you refuse the duel, you also become indignant. And the bonus here is a nice increase to all resources faction-wide and plus 10 happiness, minus 10 influence, and minus 50% deal evaluation. This is probably good in the late game when diplomacy is kind of out of the window and you have a huge faction, and the 30% to all resources is going to be just a great achievement. Early game, I don't think this is worthwhile. You definitely want diplomatic agreements to keep you afloat until you're strong enough. Grieving is more of a favoritism with God. You do lose 7 happiness, which I think is a big penalty given that on legendary difficulty you already lose 8 points. Probably midpoint, like sometime in the mid game you would want a lot of bonuses from the temple, so perhaps by that time you want to go for that. Outrage is probably good early on in my opinion, because you get a lot of bonuses to your army and you can expand out at this point and then just switch on to another mood after you do so, because you gain 40% melee attack for all your units, 100% treasure looted, 10% casualty replenishment, 25% damage, and plus 10% to income. So we should focus on the things that's happening here. We will gain this if we have war with neighboring factions, which we technically do right now, but it's not like a new war, so it doesn't really count. If we raid in Achilles' region, or if someone else come raid in our region, I don't think we can raid our own region. If we lose battle, if there's Aegean action against us, if we get ambushed, if we win duels over great warriors, or if enemy refuses such a duel, which is what happened. So that's kind of what we're going for, and that's why we're not going to go back into our city. We're just going to go next to our city.
Bound for glory.
Right, that way we're not garrisoned and we're not encamped. We did pick up a level up of both of these. I like this one because I like this one. So Blood of Hercules speed, battle speed. The upgraded version of this will give us 25% speed for 45 seconds. As we have seen in the last fight, running people down is a pain. So getting extra speed and also melee attack 50%. So that basically melee attack is hit chance. So basically we'll hit on every hit will hit in a sense for those 45 seconds because we're already at 65. So that will push us to close to 100. So I think we're going to go for this. Right now it's just 50% melee attack, which is still great. What we're giving up on, right, because we can see what we're giving up on. We're giving up on a frenzy. We sacrifice health when we're frenzied to gain minus 200% attack interval, so faster attack speed, plus 30 weapon damage, minus 24 stamina. We lose stamina. To do so, we lose health, and then we lose less health for for the same boost, but minus 12% stamina. So you lose less stamina, less health. But I'd rather not be frenzy. I think this extra hit chance is pretty good. Controlled aggression. Let's go for this.
Our rightful reward.
And now we can focus on building a little bit before we end turn. So the building system in Total War Troy functions quite differently from Three Kingdoms. So first off, the key thing about building, if we look at the whole build chart available to us, we have temples. There's a lot of them, but you can only build one. Basically, which god or goddess you're dedicating the temple to. And the administration is only available in major settlements. It's basically stuff like influence, happiness, resource multipliers, and growth. and discounts. And the key thing here is actually happiness and influence, because you can, at level 2 you can unlock your agents. Agents are quite nice. And most importantly, there's military buildings, because you need military buildings to actually recruit units, to unlock new units to recruit. That is something very different from Three Kingdoms, and that makes recruiting at a certain province quite key. So expanding rapidly is going to hurt, because if you lose unit, you can't recruit new ones in the new place you just conquered because they don't have the right buildings. So you kind of want to get your buildings straight. We do have a statue of Achilles built in our major settlement already. So all units, faction elite unit will get +2 rank when we recruit them, -5% recruitment cost for all army units, and also extra charge that's added to our units recruited from this province. So it would be kind of a unit recruiting station here. That's what we have right now. And we probably want to get this military camp. It does allow us to get some faction unique units as we upgraded more faction unique units. So we definitely want to go for this route. As you can see, we can't build it right now because our major settlement, our main city, Wall City, is only tier 2. You need to raise it to tier 3 to unlock all the tier 3 buildings. So we're waiting for that. Also, we don't have 150 gold and 240 stone. So we got to work towards that as well. In the meantime, the fastest way to get growth, we require 2 population to upgrade this alongside wood and stone, is we need more growth, which will push our population over. You can see the figures here. And the best way to get growth early on, stuff like harbor is great. There's also special buildings here that give growth. But I think harbor is the way to go. You get food as well, and also multiplier to all resources. We can't upgrade it right now because we don't have the necessary wood, I believe. We're short. Yep. Which means we can trade for it. That's definitely a way to go. We also don't have any more building slot in our main settlement unless we destroy something. Mustering field is giving us spearmen. We might keep it just because we don't have any other strong unit to recruit at all. So some more front line would be good for our units. And I do want to boost happiness because, as said, happiness is a premium in our case because we are on legendary difficulty. So we need to upgrade this as quickly as possible. For minor settlements, it's quite different. You get this resource section, which is production of the resource that's produced in the settlement. You also have military, which is available, but you notice how the maximum settlement level for minor settlement is 3. So tier 4 and 5 buildings are never allowed to be built. So maybe don't go for, don't plan out your military expansion in this minor settlement. Be like, I'm waiting to get these units. You'll never get them if you build it here. What we want is just some extra wood production. We do have exactly 60% influence, which is what's called high influence. 60 is the threshold, but unfortunately we're going to lose that. As you can see, Achaean influence is dropping, and Aeolian influence, which is the local population, is increasing. So that's going to affect our production, because right now if we build this, we get 60 per turn, but once that drops below 60%, we only get 26 per turn. There's some variations of resource producing building that you can build at different, give or take. But this is the most basic and cheapest one to build, so we might just go for that. Unless we can secure ourselves enough wood to upgrade this. 160 wood. So once again, we turn to diplomacy. There's nothing that we can willingly sell. So at this point, we just negotiate a bartering deal if we can. We can look at whoever is friendliest to us and start there. So Ajax the Lesser is quite friendly to us, even though there's nothing he's willing to combine with us because we already have military access with him. We can perhaps do a single barter, and we need, I believe, 160 wood, and we can gift him maybe some of our excess bronze, which he doesn't. Oh, he doesn't want one. He wants more than one. Okay, that's good. 100, 20. Conversely, we can just wait a turn and save this much bronze, but I would like to save a turn of build time. So 108. It's a lot of bronze, but right now we have no use for bronze, and this wood is going to speed us up for the entire game. I think it's a fair deal. Very nice indeed.
Proof of my greatness.
So now we can upgrade this. It will take us 3 turns to construct, and we'll get more growth for it. We'll not build anything here. A couple of reasons. In case one of these factions turn on us and attack this, anything we build is going to waste in a sense. So because of that, I'm probably going to underdevelop our wood for a little bit. We're still going to build this version next turn. We'll get that 700 wood pretty quickly. And before we end turn, we got to pick a decree. This is the new reform tree or decree tree. And there is a rate of efficiency, administrative efficiency, that helps us speed things up. So just divide the number of turns by this value here. So right now it's divided by 1, so that's what's the number reflected. This is like the max turn, so this is like 8 turns. If we have this at 200%, that would be 4 turns, and so forth. The base level ones give us the production of that resource, so we're getting quite a bit of bronze right now. I think early game wood is just king. So even though gold is really good, I think we just want some extra wood if we can. Or, I'm kind of torn. Because we also need a lot of gold to upgrade our special military camp building. So maybe gold first. We just struggle with wood a little bit. We do have a wood producing settlement, so it's not like we can't increase it somehow. But with that, I think we just need to recruit units and then we're good. So my opinion here versus Three Kingdom is try to recruit the best unit you can, because resources are very different, as you see from most Total War game. It's not just one singular resource, so your units are not actually competing with your economic growth, right? If I spend a bunch of food here, I'm not losing out on building my economy, because my economy needs wood and doesn't care about food. And once I spend that food, I just need to pay for upkeep. So having better units is going to be better. Big concept, right? So let's recruit. You only have as many slots as here to recruit. That's your local recruitment limit, and it will take a turn. They'll come full health. So we're good here. We can officially kind of end turn. All right, we have a mission to issue a royal decree, which is the research is going. And he has retreated back into the city. And what we're going to do here is take care of some of our other living legend situation while we are waiting to get recruitment up to go attack him, because sieging the city requires quite a big force, considering he comes with a pretty stacked retinue, and we have to heal up anyways. So this turn, what we're going to do, we could have done this last turn. Even though we failed to confront him, we can confront 2 other, right? Ajax the Lesser, he's to our west, and Eumelos, he's to our north. So if we confront him, we are going to depart and actually fight him for 2 turns. And Ajax is actually kind of awed of us, so he's actually going to just respect it and then give us the win right away, the recognition. So that's another off our list, and then we're going to go confront him. Oh, another recognition. So it's not the same every campaign, because during our preview guide, he did not give us this. He actually made us go travel there to fight him for 2 turns. So this is better. We don't have to recruit a replacement general. I thought it would have been fine doing so because we're recruiting anyways, and when Achilles comes back, we'll just have him back controlling the bigger army. But this is even better. Alright, we'll go for the units. And here we can develop our loggers tent. As you can see, you see the production's grayed out. The high influence production, that part's gone, right? Because we don't have high influence anymore, and we can't really get it back until we build the envoy building, the Megaron, which boosts your influence. So it's a bit sad. But we'll take what we can get, and we'll build that camp right there. We can also plan out a god or goddess for us to pray to. Right now, I think we're going for a lot of spear units, which might be Athena. We also reduce fatigue, but she doesn't provide much else. I typically like Hera or Aphrodite because they provide a lot of faction-wide bonuses in the beginning. Like if we get to the tier 2 celebrated, we get growth, happiness, and then you get diplomatic relationship, very good. Over here, -1 construction time for all main buildings, -10% wood construction cost, plus 50% growth in faction provinces with over 50% influence, cheaper recruitment cost, damage to slingers. So we just don't run slingers right now, so maybe not.
Achilles
Or maybe maybe we run some slingers. Let's pray to Hera. So each hecatomb would raise our favor by 70. It will cost 500 food, and there will be a 5-turn cooldown. Each turn this will drop by 10. So in 2 turns, the effect will be gone, and we have to wait till the prayer. Obviously, building a temple and getting a priestess to maintain this is much better way of increasing, but this is what we have right now. This gives us better diplomatic deals right now. We can... I think we can check... Yeah, we can check the bonus on the side. So we have slinger damage. Oh, no, diplomatic is Aphrodite. So we just basically get slinger damage and cheaper recruitment in 50% influence, which we do. So that's why I kind of cancel them, so we can technically save money. Although the cost didn't reflect, I don't know if we have to wait a turn or not. But maybe we go for the slightly cheaper slinger this turn and then go for that. I'm going to build it up to like a max army before we go attack them. It's hard to take land in this game. We don't have any more wood. We spend all our food, and we don't have so I think we're good. I think we did everything. He's the only one on our list, and we are not moody, right? Yeah, we stayed away from everything else. So let us continue here. You can always check notifications. What can we build? I don't think we can build anything. Yeah, what's the notification for? There's nothing to build. There's an empty slot, but we can't... I mean, we can afford this building, but it's a duplicate building. So that's the situation here. It only costs food. We already have it. Alright. Technically, we could build this and then free this slot up for Envoy. But I think it's only a matter of time till we get this upgraded. Maybe like 3 turns away, so maybe not too much work. Let's continue. Alright, we got our muster the troop mission completed. 12 units. Get some food and bronze. We do have tons of bronze. Want us to construct any building. So when our building finishes next turn, we'll get that mission done. Ideally, we could have done this, but then we kill our influence as well. Get some extra ammo on the slingers. But I think we're only going to go through 3 slingers. I'm not going slinger heavy. I want to go spear heavy. I don't want to sacrifice growth. I'm going to wait for this. We don't have a lot of stone, so that's going to be an issue. But the good news is, I think there's a stone friendly, not available to be taken. But we'll see what he has. He has another minor settlement here. We'll just keep recruiting. It does not get cheaper. Are they lying to me? Right? Minus 7% recruitment cost for all army units in the province. 523 was the cost the whole time. Oh well. I mean, we want those units. And there's another tactic you can use. You can, recruit another general, which gives you another army slot, and therefore you can recruit units on them as well, and then you can merge and have the general sub out. We would have done that if we were going for, if one of the living legend asked us to go away for 2 turns, but in this case that didn't happen. Myrmidon, I think, is one of the 5, what do you call it, captains of the Myrmidons that went to the Trojan War with Achilles. So I think we might hire him in the future. And then someone told me during the previews that Automedon is the chariot driver for Achilles, and they were close, which is also nice to know. I don't know the others. Even though this name, Polythanos, sounds very much like the name of the daughter of Priam, but clearly not the case, but I'm just saying. Maybe it's a slightly different. Not sure. Anyhow, I believe that's another quick turn. We're just trying to build up right now with our limited resources and then take them on. Yeah, it seems like they're really weak, but settlements, trust me, are not easy to take. And plus, if there's another army nearby, we'll be in ruins. And we do not want that. We'll be at 15 units. Yeah, let's finish recruiting first. Alrighty, so we finished the construction of buildings. Now they want us to upgrade any settlement building, so the main building. He got an army join him, and also a priestess embedded himself in there, so they get special sacrificial offerings pre-battle for different effects that help them out, and they have more men now, so there was an army on the way. We'll just go till we're 20 before we do the attack, and that will be how we will wrap up things here. Alright, I'm definitely happy to spend some wood and bronze for more wood. And over here, we're waiting for stone to somehow pick up magically. We probably have to get it through trade. We need 330 stone. We need, so that's how much missing. We get 3 a turn. We have 2 more turns until the surplus hits. So we'll have 6 more. So we have 265. And then we're missing 65, 65. 65 stones. 65 stone. And those 3 are going to time out. In how many turns? In 2 turns. So we'll get those 2 turns. Ooh. Okay.
Take wine with me.
Odysseus is looking for an upgrade. Odysseus, do you have 65 stone? He only has 29 stone. That's the max. I typed 65 and went to 29. We'll take it. We can see that here. Do you have stone per turn? Right? If we have 2 turns, we want 65. We got 29. We have 36 to go. We need 18 per turn. Alright, we can do that. And then the rest we'll just solve it slowly. Oh, that's a big jump. Man, everyone's very generous with their bronze. Oh, well, that's still a 5-point jump for 5 points, so that's not bad. We're doing okay on wood. Let's try if we can get another 5-point jump. 44. There we go. That should have us exactly enough to upgrade our settlement. Alright, that's our current state. Alright, we get 21 turns, so 42 in 2 turns. That will push us to 330. Exactly what we need. As long as we don't spend any.
Son of a goddess and a king.
Alright, we're gonna go with more frontline units. Spear wielding frontline units. This is not happening, is it? 660 stone. Maybe I should build this and then get rid of that. Light swordsman. 2 turns. I think it's too late. I think it's too late to switch. Okay, let's just go with this. Alright, our cult leveled down, so no longer above 50 points. We knew that was happening. We want to have a mission to get 20 units in an army, which is what we're trying desperately to do right now. And we got hit with a hostile agent action. So they came and did Oration of the Dread, telling us that, you know, Dread is coming, and I think we lose morale because of this. I believe that's the effect. No, not that. Can we see? Is there a place where we can see this effect? I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. And the thing about that is, I'm actually quite happy she did that. Because hostile agent action gives us 5%. Current amount. How did we get this? We didn't do anything bad. I don't know why we're at 10% here. But we got 5% because the agent did something to us. It's a priestess. It's not something we got to be scared of. If we don't have any agents, we have no way to constrain the enemy agents. That's why we also probably should go for envoy building here. But I didn't swap. What we're going to do is recruit the last 2 units. These aren't like fancy great units whatsoever. They're just the best thing we have right now. Now that we have recruited those, I'm going to get rid of this building. And that way we can build our envoy. We don't need to recruit that type of unit here. Once we get this to 3 next turn, we're going to build the military camp, which will require what? Because we got plan out for that as well. 240 stone. So it seems like stone right now is something that we might desperately need. But first, let's win some war after we get our units done. Let's continue. Alrighty. And, okay, so that's how the system works. So it seems like because we demolished it at the same turn, you can't complete the recruitment. Which I feel is slightly unfair, but okay. We're going to upgrade the settlement. We're going to pop in the administrative building for influence, because influence will give us actually more wood. And over here, I think we're going to leave it blank. And we didn't get to finish that mission. But our guys are still healing a little bit. It's okay. I guess we settle for 2 of them. At this point, how long is it before we can pray again? 1 more turn. Okay, so our slingers will be online next turn. And we can actually pray again to get us boosted for the damage boost. So that's exactly what we want. And we're good to go. And guess what? They're offering us a peace deal. But we have to pay for it. They're demanding us to pay them for peace. That's very bold. Alright, so we got our maximum strength. The agent tried it again. This time she failed. And I believe it's not a critical failure, so she's not wounded or anything. It's just she's failed. There's like critical success, success, failure, critical failure. We're ready to fight. And that's what we're going to do when we come back for next episode. We'll get our god in order. We'll pray to Hera again. Let the goddess bless us as we go fight our last character on our living legend. And we'll move on from there. So this episode obviously is going to be one of our longer episodes in the series, simply because a lot of story to share. And there's going to be more stories as we bump into other factions on the map. So I hope you guys enjoy this series and come back next time. Bye!